where the wild ducks run and the rabbits and the pheasants and the hares. We're searching for the fox in the ferns and the rocks, and I wouldn't give you tuppence for my cares. On a fine Sunday morning when the dew is on the grass and the mist lying soft upon the hill, I would ramble through the bog, just myself and the dog, and go fishing in the river by the mill. And I wish I was something where the wild ducks run and the rabbits and the pheasants and the hares. We're searching for the fox in the ferns and the rocks, and I wouldn't give you tuppence for my cares.
There are trout in the river, there are salmon there as well, and sometimes the longest of the eels. And the meadows would be ringing with the sweet lark singing, and the people out there working in the fields.
And I wish I was something where the wild ducks run and the rabbits and the pheasants and the hares. We're searching for the fox in the ferns and the rocks, and I wouldn't give you tuppence for my cares. In the very month of June, when the winds are in bloom and the dust begins to fall at 10:30, if you walked a mile or so and you knew just where to go, you could find them making puncheon in the glen. And I wish I was something where the wild ducks run and the rabbits and the pheasants and the hares. We're searching for the fox in the ferns and the rocks, and I wouldn't give you tuppence for my cares. In the month of October, when the weather's turning cold and the yellow autumn stubble on the ground, there are bright little lights burning holes in the night and the fiddle music ringing all around. And I wish I was something where the wild ducks run and the rabbits and the pheasants and the hares. We're searching for the fox in the ferns and the rocks, and I wouldn't give you tuppence for my cares. And I wish I was something where the wild ducks run and the rabbits and the pheasants and the hares. We're searching for the fox in the ferns and the rocks, and I wouldn't give you tuppence for my cares.
Thank you. You met a couple of these lads before, did you? When they were with us.
Alan Barty from Dundee. Artie Midlin from Oma.
I have a song about a fellow who left County Derry. He was a farmer. He had a small farm, loved living where he was, but taxes and rates got far too high for him to pay, and he had to emigrate. He didn't want to emigrate, and the place he left was all within his mind from the first day he left until the day he died, I'm sure. He left a lovely song behind him. It's called Slieve Gallen Bray.
My name is Joe McGarvey, as you might understand. I come from Derryginnet, and I own a farm of land, but the rents were getting higher, and I could no longer pay. So farewell unto you, Bunny, Bunny, Slieve Gallen Bray. Oft times have I wandered with my dog and my gun to view your fair valleys and this mountain for fun. I was thinking on the flowers all going to decay. Bunny, Slieve Gallen Bray. Of times in the evening and the sun in the the dreams of youth have vanished, and I am far away. So farewell unto you, Bunny, Bunny, Slieve Gallen Bray. It is not the want of employment at home that causes the sons of old Ireland to roam, but the taxes getting higher, and we can no longer stay. So farewell unto you, Bunny, Bunny, Slieve Gallen Bray. Farewell to old Erin, a land that is so green, to the parish of Listen and across a Ballin's Green. May good fortune shine upon you when I am far away, and a long farewell to Bunny, Bunny, Slieve Gallen Bray.
Preacher's got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got. Hey, all the God's preacher's got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got now.
Well, listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with a beat to do, and the old cow just goes moo.
And the dogs and the cats, they take out the middle where the honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles, the donkey brays and the pony neighs, and the old gray badger sighs. Oh, all of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got now.
To the top with the little bird singing on the melodies and the high notes ringing and the hoot owl cries over everything and the blackbird disagrees.
And it's singing in the nighttime, singing in the day. The little luck quackson is on his way, and the otter hasn't got much to say. And the porcupine talks to himself. Oh, all of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got now. It's a simple song, a living song everywhere, by the ox and the fox and the grizzly bear, the grumpy alligator and the hobble, the sly old weasel and the turtle, and all of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, some just clap their hands, applause, or anything. And all of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got now.
universal folk tales is the folk tale, of course, which is made famous in the legend of Dr. Faustus. Faust legend, where a man sells his soul to the devil. It's known all over the world. In America, it's called, I collected a version called Wicked John and the Devil down the southern Appalachian Mountains. Over here in Ireland, of course, most of it had another version of the story, beaten into us by the Christian brothers with the knuckle, called Sheena. Do you remember that? Fi faro and fado agus as e anima vier na Sheena, vi tig biog das clahorigar bun canic haven of fauna. This concerns a man, well, it's a slightly different variant on the story. It was written by a woman over in Massachusetts who heard us do a similar story on the stage, and she thought she would write something for us. And she wrote this one called The Children of Micah, about a man. He doesn't sell his soul, but he sells something very, very precious to him. Not to the devil, but to what could be described as time or fate. She, in her story, simply calls it the year. The Children of Michael. Farmed the wide fields above the edge of the land. His name was Michael. And he was wise in the ways of the water, wise in the ways of the wind. He witched water with a fork of a hazel twig. And he read the lay of the coming seasons from the fur on the underbelly of an alder leaf. Now the land was rich where the salt marshes met the sea. And above him, the white gulls, grey gulls flew circling and crying. The land bore for him, and the sea bore for him, and he farmed them both.
Then came a day in his years when Michael grew lonely in the land. And he got himself a wife then from a town on the far side of the hills. And the crying of the birds was not so lonely then. Michael loved her for the whiteness of her hand and for the wind in her hair. He loved her for the softness of her ways. And they were easy with each other. And the years passed easy for a time.
But when Michael knew that no children would come to them, he grew sad. She was sad then too. And he heard her sometimes singing when she did not know that he was near. Cast a boat upon the sea, a silver boat upon the sea. A child will sail back home to me. To me. Michael walked alone then by the edge of the salt marshes, listening to the gulls high in the air. And after a time, he knew what he would do.
And the year bent above him and listened and agreed. Now in the far town they did not know him for a hard man, but the bargain he drove on that day was a hard one.
Sons, said Michael. I would have sons for my youth.
The year above him smiled.
And daughters. Daughters for my age.
The year smiled. And what would you give to the year?
What would you want then?
The year said, I will choose one for myself from among them, from among you. And the year was still smiling, knowing which one he would take.
Michael went home then, and he kept his silence. And he heard her again, her voice singing sadly and far away.
Set a wing upon the sky, a silver wing upon the sky. A child will fly home by and by. By and by.
And the spring came. And in the spring of that year she bore a son, and she called him for his father out of love for him.
She did not know that above her in childbed, the year looked over her and waited.
The child grew, and soon enough ran behind her along the sand, gathering winkles on the little stones of the sea. And Michael watched after them both and was glad. And in the summer of the next year she bore a daughter, as lovely as herself, who in time danced before her through the fields, gathering with her the flowers that grew there. "Oh, I hope you may not be coming yet," said Michael when he was alone. And he felt the year moving in the still grasses of his fields, like wind that wasn't there.
"Not yet," said the year. "I will come in my time, and you will not know that I come."
Michael's wife was happy then, and the seasons turned after themselves in their prime. She bore a second son, and then a second daughter. And now her singing came to him from orchard and meadow, and her singing had no sadness to it.
Oh, 'tis safe upon the sand, little bird is safe on land. Babe in cradle, ring on hand, ring on hand.
"Oh, I hope you may not be coming yet," said Michael when he was alone. And he heard the year moving in the still branches of his orchard trees like rain that wasn't there.
"Not yet," said the year. "I will come in my time, and you will not know that I come."
And in another spring and in another summer, Michael's wife bore her last children. And these also she loved, these youngest of her sons and youngest of her daughters. But Michael grew afraid.
"What do you fear?" said the year. "You are rich in your children.
"Are you coming?" asked Michael.
You have sons for these seasons, and you have daughters to comfort you in seasons yet to come."
"Which will you take?" asked Michael.
"Which will I take?" said the year.
And Michael saw the year moving in the little waves at his feet at the edge of the sea, like a tide that wasn't there. "Are you coming now?" asked Michael.
"I will come in my time, and you will not know that I come."
Michael lingered long by the fire with her that night with his wife. For there was a storm coming down on them from the north, and the fish ran before the water, and the water ran before the wind. And the storm came with its fingers at the windows and its hands against the door.
And oh, Michael feared for his children then, but his wife, she was singing to them.
Boat rides at the harbor light, every bird is done with flight. Sleep ye safe with me tonight. Tonight.
And Michael slept then as if there was a spell upon him. And when he awoke, the rain was done and the wind was gone.
And in that silence, he heard the voice of a child calling his name outside in the night. His wife, she heard it too, and they ran out into the darkness to bring back the child that was lost. "You cannot come now," called Michael, for he was afraid of his promise.
"I will come in my time, and you will not know that I come."
"You cannot take what is mine."
"You cannot keep what you have given away."
And Michael followed the voice of the child up and down the fields and through the trees. And Michael's wife followed the voice of the child along the edge of the sea, although she found no child.
"I will come in my time." But she did not hear him. "And you will not know that I come."
Michael heard no more crying then. He returned to his house for a lantern, and he found all his children asleep by the fire where she had comforted them with her singing.
"Michael, I called you, but you did not know my name."
And his wife was still gone, following the voice of a lost child. He went out again to look for her, and when he found her, in the long dark of the moon, she lay upon the sand, and there was salt in her mouth, and there was salt water in her hair, and her eyes looked up at the sky. And Michael knew that she did not see the sky.
"Go home, Michael. Go home to your sons and to your daughters. Let them keep you now."
And above her, the white gulls and the grey gulls flew circling and circling and were silent.
Cast a boat upon the sea, a silver road upon the sea. A child will sail back home to me.
That's enough about so-and-so, not to mention such and such. Then it better end my song, I've already said too much. For the less you say and the less you hear, the less you'll go astray. And the less you think and the less you do, the more you'll hear them say. Oh, whatever you say nothing. Come on, when you talk about you know what. For if you know who should hear you, you know what you'll get. Oh, they'll take you off to you know where, for you wouldn't know how long. So for you know whose sake, don't let anyone hear you singing this song. And whatever you say nothing. When you talk about you know what. For if you know who should hear you, you know what you'll get. They'll take you off to you know where, for you wouldn't know how long. So for you know whose sake, don't let anyone hear you singing this song. And whatever you say nothing. When you talk about you know what. For if you know who should hear you, you know what you'll get. They'll take you off to you know where, for you wouldn't know how long. So for you know whose sake, don't let anyone hear you singing this song. For you know whose sake, don't let anyone hear you singing this song.
We've been singing by a man who always manages to remain optimistic, Pete Seeger. He sings positive songs and he makes positive songs because his feeling is that this little ball of earth is just one small spaceship, limited amount of air, a limited amount of water hurtling through space. And here we are, this little bunch of multicolored people fouling it up as fast as we can and killing each other off as fast as we can. He wrote a song about it called The Rainbow Race. The black, the white, the yellow, the red, the orange, the green, whole bloody lot of us. And he says, one blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round, who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race that it's too soon to die. Sing it with us. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round, who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race that it's too soon to die.
Sing it with us once you have it.
One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores,
One earth so green and round.
one earth so green and round, who could ask for more?
And because I love you,
And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race that it's too soon to die. Some folks want to be like an ostrich, bury their heads in the sand. Some hope their plastic dreams can unclench all those greedy hands. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round, who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race that it's too soon to die. Some want to take the easy way, poison and bombs, they think we need 'em.
can't kill all the unbelievers. There is no shortcut to freedom. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round. Who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race that it's too soon to die. Go tell all the little children, tell their mothers and fathers too. Now's our last chance to learn to share what's been given to me and you. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping all our shores, one earth so green and round. Who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race that it's too soon to die. And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show my rainbow race that it's too soon to die.
Well, this is a nice, quiet love song about an old couple. You know, probably my favorite couple, old Margaret and her husband. They know what love is all about because they've seen the hard times as well as the good times. The old Dutchman is a bit shell-shocked in this song. I think he's shell-shocked. The song just says he might be a little bit mad. But I think that he's shell-shocked because it's just after the war, and the song takes place in one day in their lives from early morning until late at night. The thing I love about Margaret is that I love the way she puts the little drop of whiskey in his tea to warm him up and cheer him up. To me, that's the essence of a love song right there. The chorus, if you want to sing it nice and soft, is straight out of one of the old man's mad reveries, where he kind of goes back to his youth. He says, "Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago I used to be a young man. Dear Margaret remembers that for me, the Dutchman." The Dutchman's not the kind of man to keep his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. But that's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden, in the morning Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. He thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snows. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago I
And dear Margaret remembers that for me.
The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes. His cap and coat are patched with love that Margaret sewed him. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals and calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes to take him home again through unforgiving streets that trip him though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and he calls her name.
Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
Oh, the windmills swirl the winter in. She winds his muffler tighter. They sit in the kitchen, and the tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, calls her name. She makes his bed up, humming some old love song. She learned it when the tune was very new. He hums a line or two, they hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep and Margaret blows the candle out.
Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Sing once more. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
Bring up the cider, bring up the cider, for tonight we'll marry be. We'll knock the milkmaids over and roll them in the clover. The corn's half cut and so are we. Right away, come on. Drink up the cider, drink up the cider, for tonight we'll marry be. Oh, we'll knock the milkmaids over and roll them in the clover. The corn's half cut and so are we. That's it. Drink of the cider, George, passes round the jug. Drink of the cider, George, like gardens well
by the star. My nose be getting redder from Charterhouse to Cheddar, and there's still more cider in the jar.
Here, drink up the cider, drink up the cider. For the night will merry be. Oh, we'll knock the milkmaids over and roll them in the clover. The corn's hot, and so are we. Bring out the cider, George, get up off the mat. Bring out the cider, George, put on your new white hat. We're going to Ballyburley to see Uncle Willie, and still more cider. I get my Uncle Willie. Drink up the cider, drink up the cider. For the night will merry be. We'll knock the milkmaids over and roll them in the clover. The corn's half cut and so are we. Drink up the cider, George. Get it off your chest. Drink up the cider, George. It's time we had a rest. There's nothing quite like cider to make your smile grow wider. And there's still more cider in the west. Drink up the cider, drink up the cider. For the night will merry be. We'll knock the milkmaids over and roll them in the clover. Oh, the corn's half cut and sore. Once more for Max, come on. Drink up the cider, drink up the cider. For the night will merry be. We'll knock the milkmaids over and roll them in the clover. Oh, the corn's half cut and so are we.
The song we've been singing wherever we go, it's been sung, God knows, all over the world by many groups. A lot of people, even in Ireland, think it's an old traditional song, but it was written by Thomas Makem himself. It's called The Four Green Fields.
The pockets of our great coats full of barley. No kitchens on the run. No striking camp. We moved quick and sudden in our own country. The priest lay behind ditches with the tramp. A people hardly marching on the hike. We saw new tactics happening each day. We'd cut through reins and rider with a pike and stampede cattle into infantry, then retreat through hedges where cavalry must be thrown, until on Vinegar Hill the fatal conclave. Terraced thousands died, shaking scythes at cannon. The hillside blushed, soaked in our broken wave. They buried us without shroud or coffin. But in August, the barley grew up out of the grave. What did I have? Said the fine old woman. What did I have? This proud old woman did say I had 4 green fields. Each one was a jewel, but strangers came and tried to take them from me. I had 5 strong sons. They fought to save my jewel.
they fought and died, and that was my grief, said she. Long time ago, said the fine old woman. Long time ago, this proud old woman did say there was war and death, plundering and pillage, my children starved by mountain, valley, and sea, and their wailing cries, they shook the very heavens. My four green fields ran red with their blood, said she. What have I now? Said the fine old woman. What have I now? This proud old woman did say, I have four green fields. One of them's in bondage in strangers' hands, who try to take it from me. But my sons have sons, and as brave as were their fathers. My fourth green field will bloom once again, said she.
We'll see you again, which please God will be soon. Maybe this summer when the warm weather comes back, we always like to come back. See the girls in the mini skirts and everything.
Some of the boys in them too.
Till we see you again, we're going to leave you with a little song called The Journey's End.
Fire is out, the moon is down, the parting glass is dry and done, and I must go and leave this town before the rising of the sun. And long's the road and far's the mile before I rest my soul again, with girls that weep and girls that smile, and all the words and ways of men. For some there are that may not bide, but wander to the journey's end, nor take a girl to be a bride, nor keep a man to be a friend. And when I'm done with wandering, I will sit beside the road and weep for all the songs I did not sing, and promises I did not keep.
Thank you very much for coming. Hope we'll see you all again very soon. Good night. Safe home. God bless.
Tommy Makem, Liam, Clancy. Great to have them here on Channel 9 this night. And we move from Ireland to the India problem of Great Britain at the time of the end of the British Raj. It's the story of Lord Mountbatten, the last viceroy.